African countries also has to put their hand in their pocket and have some money, and that money should also be put under the table, because all what has been mentioned, it's the discussion, it's mainly between the rich countries, and then we will receive what will be left over. So we definitely need as well to define who will receive the vaccine and how much we can as well put under the table so that we can access what is needed in terms of vaccine quality and that will fit to our environment.
Yeah, Suerie, I do want to bring you in, but I just want to follow up with what you just said there, Boum, about the importance of research within Africa. I was reading a little bit today about the history of medical colonialism in Africa, and because of processes like that, including with Pfizer, which is the company that's been behind one of these major vaccines that is set to be rolled out, there is a good degree of distrust across the continent regarding vaccines. Do you think that that's true, and how can that be combated?
Well, as a matter of fact, the question that African will ask to ourselves is how many of those vaccines have actually been tested in Africa in those trials, and the answer most likely will be none. And now we will be receiving a vaccine which we don't know the adverse effect in our community. So that also it's adding up on the distrust that people have been having in mind about the colonialism and taking African as guinea pig. While we know that it's not true, we've been testing Ebola vaccine in Guinea, in DRC, and so on, and find some good results. So by doing those trials in the continent, having those evidence from the continent bring more trust than what is happening now.
So a call from you there to have more research, more development, more testing in Africa. Suerie, let me bring you in. I know you wanted to speak a while ago about vaccine nationalism. What are your thoughts on what you've just been hearing?
I think one of the less well understood aspects of what's going on right now is exactly what my colleague, Mr. Boum, was referring to, which is that many countries, developing countries included, are not sitting back and waiting for a handout, or they're not waiting for a solution to be handed to them. You have many governments that are, in fact, trying to get access to vaccines themselves. A number of middle-income countries, a number of countries that are participating in clinical trials, including in the Middle East, South Africa, across Latin America, in Southeast Asia. And so there are, in fact, a number of bilateral vaccine deals between Western firms, Chinese firms, the Russian Gamaleya Institute, and developing countries for access to vaccine supplies. So I think the picture is not so black and white, and initiatives like the African CDC saying, we have money we're willing to put on the table, that the problem is actually getting access to volume. I mean, this is one of the challenges that we have seen, is that when wealthy countries bid against each other, along with this logic of vaccine nationalism, they bid up the price for everybody, and they take all of the supply and leave very little left for there's very little left for the rest of the world. So we have a kind of a breakdown in cooperation happening at the international level. Now, this breakdown really began certainly in the earliest months of this pandemic, but it did get worse when the U.S. made it very clear that it was not going to support any kind of multilateral initiative for vaccine access, and that it was not going to share the very considerable stockpile of vaccines that the United States has secured access to. And so I think this really set off a panic in many other wealthy countries, including in Europe and in Japan, where other wealthy countries said, if we can't rely on international cooperation, we're going to have to grab some for ourselves in the same way that the U.S. has grabbed some for itself. So we've seen this kind of cascading effect of vaccine nationalism that unfortunately has left pretty much everybody worse off.